Welcome to Nipples Garage. Everyone's been talking about it, saying nobody wants it, and Dodge is finally listening.
Nobody bought it either.
Nobody bought it. The sales were very down. It's the Charger RT that's going away for 2026. They're still going to have the Scat Pack EV, though.
The cheaper one.
The cheaper Scat Pack?
It's the Scat Pack.
The Scat Pack is the $90,000 with all the goodies on it.
Well, I don't care.
The RT is kind of the base model that people are kind of tossing away, not buying in the numbers.
Understood. So they're going to make one model at $90,000, which, what are the specs on it? I really don't care.
I mean, specs are basically 630 horsepower.
That's right.
And
so
same the other one.
I do kind of have to be nice because I did get to go for a ride in one at Barrett-Jackson. Adam Ferrara drove me.
He did.
And it was fun.
Right.
I'll give him that. It was fun. I vastly prefer the older ones, the Hemi power.
But is this because you're not used to EVs yet?
It was easier to kick the tails out. Even in the, whatever, the donut mode or something, it was easier to kick out the Hemi ones.
Right.
So
I know Adam was complaining about that and talking about it because he's like, I wanted to be funky and crazy and just spin out a lot, and he couldn't do it. But is that because you don't know how to technically drive it correctly yet?
I'm going to be diplomatic and just say that I vastly prefer the older Challenger, because I do know that Dodge sponsors Barrett-Jackson, and that, sort of pays for some of our stuff.
But you're saying something that we haven't heard, and that's why they're getting rid of the RT for 2026. It's because the numbers, people just aren't buying it.
Nobody's buying it. Nobody wants that.
Is this the biggest kind of bust in Dodge history? Would you say that they came out with this car and no one's buying it?
Oh man, there's been a lot of really bad busts with Dodge. And I have the Imperial Frank Sinatra edition that was certainly a huge bust because of how expensive it was and how unreliable it was. Now, the Dodge is showing it's not that unreliable, or at least as far as I know. That's not what everybody's talking about. They're talking about how nobody's buying it. So, that's definitely a thing. But from what I understand, they're going to come out with the gasoline models to replace it, which is what people want, and a four-door, which is what people want. But no V8. It's an inline-six twin-turbo, the Hurricane engine.
Why do you think they're not choosing to go with the V8?
Because of the mandates. They were forced to, sort of with the EPA emissions and fuel economy mandates, to get rid of the V8s because they have to match up their whole product line. Right. Now, if all of this goes away, then their whole product strategy they were forced into, it was ruined just because of a flavor of the decade as far as mandates with politics and things. But also, Stellantis, a company in Europe, and an American car company that's Americans living their V8s being run by Europeans that just don't understand is the other issue. Right. So all that,
the CEO again.
All of that is changing, I suppose, but we'll see if it can change quickly enough. But certainly a very embarrassing launch for, basically a halo car.
You didn't like anything about it. They're like, what about the interior? Because it was more like old school gasoline car interior, as opposed to Tesla, where it's like stripped down, basic, minimalist.
I vastly prefer the previous Dodge Challengers with the Hemi V8. I had fun in the new Daytona EV. The one thing that I was reading about why they're canceling the EV is Stellantis said it's because of tariffs and uncertain pricing strategies on it making sense for them because of the tariffs.
So that was the excuse, is what you're saying?
That was their excuse, which is, one person put in the comments that Stellantis is gaslighting us.
Oh yeah, that's like a cool new word right now.
Where they're making us think it's because of something else, where, the real reason is obviously nobody wants these things, especially the lesser model is still $60-something thousand, which is the one that they're doing away with. And you got to think about the competition, because like a Tesla Model Y long range accelerates quicker, and it's $40,000, and it has twice the range. Right. A Tesla Model S Plaid is now what, $80,000-$90,000?
Right. Well, I'm seeing people compare this to the Plaid, and I feel like that's not fair. Like, you can't bring them together to compare them.
Why not?
Because the Plaid is so much faster and mechanically just
But it's the same money. Why would anybody? And then same with the Audi e-trons and all those. I mean, you can get a really fancy European electric that has better performance, better range, at least is better than a Charger EV. And the buyers that were loving Mopar, that were loving these Challengers and Chargers, that are doing these street takeovers, that do donuts and things and all this goofiness, they don't want this. So the existing audience doesn't want it. There's going to be no conquest from any of the luxury brands or Tesla or anybody else to buy these. So it is definitely the dumbest product launch decision probably in 20 plus years.
Do you think it damaged the brotherhood of the Dodge muscle reputation?
Absolutely.
And people are going to kind of stray away from Dodge because it was so abysmal?
Because Cadillac's still building it. They're still building the Blackwings. They're still making a manual transmission, the V8s and all that stuff. Who would have thunk? Now Cadillac is the continuation of this. It's the closest thing that you can buy. Even though the Camaro's gone, you can still go buy Cadillacs. And then Ford with their Mustang continuing on, obviously with that's people are buying that. That's what people want. They haven't even come out with Shelbys yet, and people are still paying, what, $70,000, $80,000 for these dark horses.
Right. So do you think they should also get rid of the Scat Pack with the RT or keep that going, the production on it?
I think if they're going to gaslight people about tariffs, they should just gaslight people and say, we never built this car. What are you talking about? Like just turn off the lights of the factory, just stop and say, wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, no, we didn't build that. We never built that. No, exactly. Yeah, something like that. Of course, Jaguar is probably in the next league of stupidity as far as their rebrand and relaunch, but I think they've completely fired their marketing company that did that crazy, the models that were doing the weird things.
What, doing a Trump dance?
Well, whatever they were doing, for the
commercial, right? Yes.
Luxury, the whole weirdness of that, and now they're looking for a new marketing company to rebrand themselves again.
I did see an article. So, are they double rebranding?
That might be worse than Dodge, but it's close. It's very, very close.
There's a lot of weird stuff going on with the EV market, and right now it's all being tested out, and we're going to see who ends up on top.
What's very easy to end up back on top is to make a four-door, put a V8 in it, and make it cheaper, because that's what people wanted.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know what I'm upset about that I do not prefer that is getting a thing? It's the ID Buzz. It's going to turn into a robo-taxi.
So we don't have to, the ID Buzz is cool. It's overpriced.
It is very cool. There's no retro styling to it. They could have done so much more. We've talked about it a million times.
So it's $70,000. That's the only reason not selling. If it was 50, if it was 40, you would see them everywhere. But they chose to make it way too expensive, and people have a bad taste in their mouth or something.
Well, now what they're doing with the Buzz is they're teaming up with Uber actually, and they're launching in 2026, I believe, or maybe at the end of this year, starting to be robo taxis in LA through the Uber app, which Uber is also connecting with Waymo in some cities too. So it looks like Uber will be kind of the go-to app for this.
So Waymo used the electric Jaguars, I think the E-Pace, because nobody was buying those to make their electric cars, and it worked. And it makes sense. I guess the Volkswagen ID Buzz is something cute that people would be excited to see pull up. And it's not selling. They sold, 1,700 units. Same with the Charger. I think we talked about that, how it's under 2,000 units for a quarter, which, oh my God, terrible.
Right.
So, okay. I mean, it looks like a car from the future that drives itself, I suppose, and it has a face.
It's interesting what you said about the Jaguar and Waymo, too, is that they're just taking the cars that nobody wants and giving them a loving home.
Yes, with a soulless corporation that wants a person with no soul, a computer driving you around in it.
But do you know what corporation has a soul? Very important. Oscar Meyer Wiener. Go with me here. Indy 500 this Friday. They're going to be racing the Oscar Meyer Mobiles. Is that Oscar Meyer Wiener Mobiles?
So it's a Wiener Fest.
It's a Wiener Fest at Indy on Friday. They're going to be racing. They got 6 of them. They're amazing. 27 feet long, 11 feet high. Their frame is like a UPS truck built onto it. So the drivers are going to be the regular drivers. So they're not like trained race car drivers. They're going to go 2 laps around that 2.5 mile oval to see who the winner is.
Can you draft A Weinermobile with a Wienermobile. How does that work?
That would be amazing.
As far as will there be rubbing racing? Will the tips be touching?
Oh my gosh!
In this race.
There's 6, and each one of them is representing kind of a different part of America. There's the Shy Dog representing the Midwest, a Chicago dog. Mm-hmm. You know, there will be a penalty though if that's carrying a certain condiment. Do you know what condiment that is?
Magnum.
No, it would be ketchup. You cannot put ketchup on a Chicago hot dog. Magnum. Okay. We got the New York dog.
They're big.
Number 2, the Slaw Dog for the Southeast. The Sonoran Dog. Can you read that word?
The Sonoran?
Sonoran Dog for the Southwest.
Okay.
The Seattle Dog for the Northwest. And last, but sure as hell not least, the Chili Dog raising for the South.
That one's going to be jet propelled. Yeah, so depending on the chili, I guess the right kind of beans and things. So my money's on the Chili Dog, I suppose. Yeah.
Really? I'm going Shy Dog. They have a Chevy Source V8, no modifications to the engine. They're going like they do on the road.
I see.
This is a very important race, more significant than the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Well, this is where it's at.
Because I know they're having their biggest Indy 500 ever, where they've sold out the seats for the race, which is really cool that people are still enthusiastic about this race. It's going on for over 100 years. And that's a very good marketing thing to do.
So good. Here's my actual serious question. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Because you got 2 pieces of bread and you got
this is April's radio DJ history. So this is where, there are people in the car listening on their drive time radio and the DJ comes on and, then they argue amongst each other and all this stuff.
Don't navigate away from this very important topic.
Well,
I need you to answer this question. Is it a sandwich? We'll see.
It's meat in a bun, yes.
It is not a sandwich. What's wrong with you? What is...
She set me up.
It is. See, this is not.
This is radio DJ small talk. That's what they talk about. So
it's very important things. Those are the real stuff. Thanks so much for watching.